President Zelensky wants fighter jets. What's a realistic proposition from the UK?
The UK is not really in a position to give any fighter jets because we don't have enough to do what we need to do. However, what we can do, and what Rishi Sunak has said, is offer training. And therefore, we're starting to train Ukrainian pilots, and I understand they're being trained on the Eurofighter jets. And then we can offer support and impetus into the wider international community for jets to be provided. There are a number of different options.
Yeah, there's talk about the UK, of course, training Ukrainian pilots, but, it is the planes that Zelensky is calling for. He's talking about, Ukrainian pilots as being kings themselves. They know how to fly planes, they just need the equipment. Where is that going to come from? What jets are they likely to get from not just, say, the UK and the United States, but from around the European bloc?
Well, looking at the different options that are out there, the UK, the two jets that are being flown at the front line at the moment are the F-35B, which is just coming into service at the top here.
That's the top bit of tech.
We've only got 30 of them. They're fifth generation, they're very complex, they're very secret, they're never going to go in. We've got another 7 coming this year, another 11 coming in a couple of years' time. The mainstay of the British fighter jets are the Eurofighters that we can see there. And actually, they're in a number of different other European countries and in the Middle East. There's over 570 of them around, so there's a bigger pool of them. Some of them are older ones and going out of service, and they're working through there. Other options that have been discussed, we've got the F-16, and we heard a lot of talk about that. President Biden said the Americans were not going to contribute to F-16, but the Dutch have said that they might do. There's over 4,000 of them around the world. So in sheer numbers terms, that could be the jet. But it might be too complex for the Ukrainians. Single-seater, that's more complex to operate, to learn how to fight. It's not just learn how to fly, but it's to learn how to fight it. Moving on from that, the best option, I think, at the moment is still the MiG-29. Now, there are NATO countries that have got MiG-29s that were brought into and brought up to NATO standards after they came across from being former Soviet bloc countries. And some of those are being replaced by those countries. They could easily be passed to the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians are flying those today, and they could get into that and work it very quickly indeed. And the UK could buy some of them and guarantee support out to countries that are donating those to protect them, and that would be a quick way of getting things in. And of course, we've got the Tornado, and that's been mentioned in particular. UK Tornadoes, this is a British Tornado, retired a couple of years ago, but the Germans are still flying them, and a lot of the UK spare parts went off to Germany. The Germans are starting to retire them from next year. They could retire them earlier and potentially donate some of those across. But again, it's learning, not just learning how to fly, it's learning how to fight it, and to fight it with the different weapon systems that are on board. That's where the complexity comes in.
It seems inevitable that Ukraine will get fighter jets from a number of countries. It's just the practicalities that are being sorted out at the moment. What kind of numbers do they need to make an impact in the war? And how will jets feed into what's already been given to them by Western countries?
Numbers are a very difficult line to go down because it's all about the effect. And one type of you can have a smaller number, one type of jet that will beat a very large number of a different type of jet. So it's all the effect that the Ukrainians need, and the effect that the Ukrainians need is to be able to put a protective bubble over all of this complex high-end armour that we're now giving them, and that protective bubble is called creating local air superiority. So to stop the Russians from being able to attack the ground forces from the air. And to do that, they need to stop Russian aircraft coming in, they need to be able to shoot down Russian missiles that are there, and they need to be able to attack Russian ground forces further out to support the armour that's coming in. Because the armour that's on the ground can protect itself from ground threats. It can't protect itself from air threats. So you need that air superiority piece that's in there, and that's why the Ukrainians need jets. Are they going to be there in time for a spring offensive? No.